Welcome back to the 2021 WBBL Cup Final preview here with Focus Hoops, now joined by Sevenoaks head coach Len Busch ahead of the game. Len, you've had a little bit of a tricky situation in terms of not playing for 2 months. So just how's the prep building up to the Cup Final gone, and what's the confidence like in the group heading into tomorrow's game?
I think the run-up's been as good as we could do in the time we have. Players are working hard. Practice looks good. Obviously, there's a little bit of rust, but they're veterans. We'll come out and they'll put their best effort in, and then we'll start on our mission of continuing to get better throughout the rest of the season.
And obviously, most people are aware of obviously the decision to stop playing for a little bit and then obviously coming back tomorrow. But for those that maybe not are familiar, do you want to just briefly run through obviously what went into decision of taking the pause for really about a month, 6 weeks?
Well, you see how fast things change. All sports stopped last March, and then they figure out a way to get it started again. In our case, we were not 100% comfortable when we started, but we did. And then we started to get comfortable with it, but then cases just kind of went through the roof around Christmas time. My wife and I were both very concerned about it. We had issues around housing. We had issues with some players living with their families. We had, and it just became, we met as a group and decided that we weren't comfortable. And since that time, WBBL's instituted testing. We've further enhanced some of the protocols around, games and practices, and at the same time, we had issues with a practice facility. Like we didn't have anywhere to practice. And so that in the last 2-3 weeks, that's changed. We suddenly got back into our facility, and players sitting out just said, hey, we got to find a way. We want to play. It's a couple of players might be their last season, and they said, if there's any way to play, we want to play. So then we've just worked and found a way to get started. I don't know how it'll play out over the course of the season, but I'm hopeful. Games seem to be going forward, so cross your fingers.
Yeah, and obviously before the break, obviously you managed to get into the finals, so you had what now certainly the way Barking has developed is a very good win over Barking. You struggled a little bit on the road in Cardiff for a long spell, and obviously Renee was exceptional from the perimeter that game, and then the semi-final against Nottingham, which was an all-time classic semi-final, but both teams back and forward, a little bit scrappy at times, but I think that experience, you just found a way to win, which you so often do.
We've never really been through all the wins, I don't know what it is in the league over the last 3 years, might be 53-2 or something like that. But we don't win games by 30 points very often. So we just, as you say, find a way to win. So, and you don't have to win by a lot. You just have to win if you're going to. So we don't really worry about point spreads or that it was close. We know any teams tend to get up for us. They play a little better. I scout other teams and I watch them play, and I have to resist the temptation to say, oh, wow, they're not very good, or they do this poorly, because for some reason when they play us, they seem to do it a lot better. So we get the best from everybody most of the time.
And obviously Leicester, a team that are no different. You've met each other multiple times. Last year, not in a final, because you just got drawn against them early on in the competitions. But just talk about the challenges Leicester possess. Obviously, Kate's size is always a bit of an issue, and you've guarded her multiple different ways over the years. And then defensively this year, they seem to have taken it another step forward.
Yeah, they look. They seem to have the most depth that they've had. They're not really weak as far as I can see in any position. Until you play, you don't know. I mean, I watched highlights of the playoff final from 2019.
Yeah.
That was a great game, and there was a lot of talent in that game on both sides of the ball. And so how this plays out with Leicester, I figure we're going to meet them 3-4 more times this season. So, twice in the league. We've already, if we can get past Barking in the trophy, we'll play them in the trophy as well, semifinal. And I have no idea what will happen once players get on the floor. I know I know the things I worry about. I know the things that I'm preparing for. There are things that I wish that I envision doing, but I don't think we have time to get it down, but we'll continue to work on it. So, but it's a whole new mindset thinking about doing it without a real 5 player.
Yeah, and just so people are aware, Len has had some roster changes. So Lavinia De Silva and Julia Copper will not play in the final tomorrow for British government rule changes in particular, which must have been a little bit of a disappointment for both you, Lavinia, and the whole team when you found out about the rule changing from coming back from Portugal.
Yeah, I mean, before she went, I was saying, "Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay?" I went to the head office, and they said, "Yep, elite athletes are still exempt." And then while she was gone, the government made it clear that they were taking away the elite athlete exemption for people who've been in red list countries. So it's unfortunate, but we're not down about it. We're just working. We're just working.
Obviously, this core group has been together a long time. You've added a couple of pieces here and there. Obviously, Janice was a bit more of a new addition, but this group have played together so often. What are the advantages for you from a coaching point of view of having that group that's been set and know each other inside and out?
Well, it's mostly their maturity and professionalism. So they're getting to work. They're practicing hard. They're they believe in themselves, and their attitude's been, yes, we've changed a couple of, we're without a couple of players, but we're going to create all kinds of matchup advantages for ourselves by being a bit more mobile. So, they know how to play, they know what to do, and whatever happens, they're like me. They have a longer term view. We're thrilled to be in a final, and we're going to prepare as best we can. We're going to play. Hopefully, it'll be a good game, and whatever happens, we're on a mission to be the best team we can be throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, and I've prepared a few clips just for the viewers at home to understand a little bit more about the team and stuff. So I want to talk about firstly the unselfishness of especially the guards, the Cats, Tiani's, and how they've developed the range of passing on the floor. So I'm just going to pull in here, hopefully get it to work. A couple of clips. So get rid of this for you. So obviously this was early against Cardiff. I'll just rewind it back and just talk about the likes of Kat and Tiani being unselfish with screens and knowing that they've got a better shooter behind there in Renee open. It looked like initially Renee was going to set that screen, and then obviously Tiani recognised who it was, and they switched positions so fluidly. And just to get an open look like that early on in a game for your best shooter, really.
Well, there were a number of really good screens in that game. Those are the things that will just get better and better as the season goes on. So we still do it, and we're capable of doing it. And it's beautiful to watch from a coaching perspective, because quite often it's not a set play. It's recognizing the situation and the opportunity, and and working, in groups of 2 and 3 to create an open look. So that's going to just keep happening, and we'll get better and better at it. And hopefully we'll get some of those tomorrow. You get somebody a little out of position and you hit them.
Yeah,
Kat is the best. Kat loves to set screens almost as much as she loves to score or get an assist, because we appreciate it, and she knows her teammates appreciate it.
Yeah,
same with T. It's the same.
Just for the viewers at home that don't recognise, Kat's obviously recognised the switch coming here with Kendi Leonard, I believe, and just the re-angle of the screen in the middle of the floor, just to let Renee kind of flare out on this. And obviously she actually ends up with a drive to the basket, and I think we've got another one coming up as well. A similar thing of just the re-angling of the screens, seeing the switch here again and freeing it up. And that's the thing that a lot of people, I think, don't recognise. That everyone knows that Kat Carr's a great player, but it's those little unselfish moments that perhaps has allowed her to accelerate a game to an even higher level.
Absolutely. It's fun. It's fun to watch. And they, I tell them, even yesterday, we're running a set and she queried something early on. And I said, well, that please don't fall in love with the play. You're always playing basketball and you're always looking for, if you got a chance to score, after the first pass on a set play, you go, and they know that. And that's one of the beautiful things of this group over the years, is that they know how to play basketball and they're always looking for opportunities. The less structure you have, the harder you are to guard.
Yeah. And obviously, you mentioned it, the build-up's not been ideal, but does that give you confidence that you can still provide a really high level of basketball tomorrow, even though you're off a short preparation and not really played a game in 2 months?
Well, I'd have to think really long and hard to find a really poor performance by this group. I could think of one in the preseason a couple years ago. They'll be fine. We're very, it's a basketball game, so you have nobody knows what's going to happen. But we got some talented players and they fight hard. So I would expect a competitive game. Go on.
And what do you need to do to win? Obviously, Leicester provides some threats. What are some of the keys you've got going in of things you really need to perform at a high level to beat Leicester tomorrow?
Well, we need to score. We need to get and make some shots. We need to be a bit disruptive defensively. And we're going to have our hands full with with their size. But we'll that's really it. We're going to just have to be flexible and adjust. If we're getting hurt in one area, then we need to be able to adjust quickly and make them go somewhere else. But they have a lot of weapons, so it's going to be a challenge.
Perfect. Well, good luck in the final tomorrow, Len, and hopefully we'll catch up with you later in the season.
Thanks, Michael. I love I like your show and I like your commentary on the games, and look forward to seeing this group keep getting better. Your group. WBBL Review and Focus.
Yeah.